This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, welcome to Cosmic Prosperity Strategy. We are on the third component, essentially. There are four in total, so third to last, second to last video. And this one we're talking about visibility. So this is something that a lot of people wish was different. But the reality is, in order for you to be able to receive everything that is available for you in your prosperity, you have to be available for that. And that does require a certain level of vulnerability, as just being exposed and that kind of feeling, and visibility. And so it's something that we all have to learn kind of what keeps us from being visible and what is our true fear within ourselves, because all of us are a little bit different about what is capping our visibility and therefore often our ability to bring in prosperity and money flow fashion, and also though for other fashions. So like if you're looking for abundance of love, you have to get yourself out there and meet people, right? The truth is, all prosperity requires people. It requires other people. It requires connection in order to be able to receive. Because on this 3D plane, what we are receiving is from other people. We don't get to just have things, unless you have really good technology, just materialize out of the air. Okay, and so we need other people to be in receptivity, and so this is something that I also have to work on. So that's one of the things that I'm constantly trying to see kind of where my edges are visibility wise. And then really going above and beyond and making sure that I am getting um, more questions around it and more action steps. So I always make sure I have some level of action around being visible, because otherwise I just won't do it. Right. So that looks like projects for me. That looks like doing these wonderful little series and doing YouTube projects. And a lot of times that's where I go. I also hold two events a year, the Art of Being a Gracious Diva being one, the other one being Voicing Your Vision. So both of them have been running for 3 years, and this will be the fourth year for Art of Gracious Diva. And then in November will be the fourth year for BYV, right? So I put a lot into these because it is my growth zone. It's part of what is also helping me create more possibilities of my current iteration as energy, right? So, what is yours? So, what is your energy helping you understand? What have you learned since you have learned about energy and or your astrological chart? They are very similar, and it's kind of fun with astrology because it's mapped out for you. If you like a map, then you'll love astrology. If you love a blueprint, you'll love astrology. I find that it takes a lot of intuition, maybe, and to be inspired by those maps and charts, but it's available. And as you can see, it's becoming something that people love to create more from, um, in business and everything. That's why there's so many people doing it, right? And so this is one of these places agrees that where we agree that knowing about energy dynamics and how they show up in our psychology and our action and our self-expression and our prosperity flow is is nice. It's fun. I don't know anybody else who I don't know. I think people try to avoid these things because it does take a bit of artistry, and they feel like if it's art, it can't be science. When they have always been elements of each other, art and science are actually one and the same. Art takes massive experimentation, and science takes a lot of creativity. You have to have new thoughts, new ideas, innovative ways of approaching things, new strategies. All of that is required. That's creativity. So this kind of one or the other thing, and one reigns, and in our previous time that was science reigned, Now we get to live in the balance. That's the beauty of the Aquarian age. So, yeah, let one check the other, let one refine the other, and you can see amazing things happen in your life. So, yeah, so that energy strategy, yeah. We've moved into Sun and Taurus. I didn't know that was going to happen before the end of the series. That's fine. We get to talk about two signs. So, this is where we become we start building the things that we want to build. And that means this starts from the ground up. It means solidity, right? What is the ground? What is the soil? What is the root of which what we are doing? What does that look like? What do we want to last forever? What do we want to be part of everything we do from now forward? For me, that is my energy. I want my energy, the one that I decided to come here with, to be in full fulfillment. And then whatever that grows, I'm interested in experiencing. Right. So that's kind of my point to this. Um, there's a lot of different ways. A lot of us have different ideals. This is where we get our what we find valuable and what is meaningful to us over the long term. What would legacy look like for you is the way I usually talk to my clients about it. And we talk about that in Art of Gracious Diva is really what does it look like to build a legacy? And what about that needs a little bit of diva, and what about that needs a lot of grace? I think we always need a lot of grace. So how do we be a gracious diva in our legacy building? And so there's kind of perfect, right? What do you what do you want to be part of everything that you bring in? So your money flow, you always want that to be of love, from love. Um, Ken Honda, I believe I have that name right. Ken Honda has a book called Happy Money. I highly recommend it. It's this uh, being grateful for your money and the energetics around money that is happy. Like if all your money is happy, then you're building a really beautiful foundation for how it seeds everything that you put money into and receive in money, right? So what would that look for you? What would that look like for you? What is that? Is that happiness? Is that more loving money? Is that um, money that takes care of the precious gems of life, right? Like what does that look like? For some people that wealth looks like health, right? They even have the rewriting of that WEALTH or LLTH, depending on who's doing it, right? So that's because they find wealth in vitality, in living happy and healthily. And often that means also making sure that children have opportunity to do that from the beginning, right? So there's a lot of different components. All of us have a different way of feeling wealthy, prosperous, that we could keep going forever. It's a version of feeling safe and stable. It's a version of satisfaction. It's a version of prosperity, right? Like these are the elements. So when you understand that those feelings better, we start to understand prosperity better. And as we know, what we are doing here is putting that into actual physical feeling through our vibrations of sound and a little bit of movement. And and then we are using the actions that we decide to take. We are doing that in the feeling of that prosperity, what that prosperity is for us. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. So we'll move on to our sound. What's our sound for the day? Ah. Listen to it closely. Ah behind M. Mm, ah. Again, if you want to know more about the Omans method, which is where I'm getting a lot of these sounds and why I'm choosing the sounds I'm choosing, um, you can join us in Gracious Diva and Vocal Creatrix. So that's our class that's going to be coming up. Our live cohort, for Vocal Alchemy is finishing up, wrapping up right now. It's a once a year opportunity, and the second and the Vocal Creatrix course will be kicking itself off after Art of Gracious Diva. So it'll be another fun time where we're learning about creating with our voices, creating the lives we want. What does it mean to be a creatrix, right? What does that mean for you? A lot of that is what we're doing right now, right? We're creating our prosperity with alignment to vibration and action born from alignment, right? So if we have highly resonating, highly impactful action without working harder, that's my favorite part. I was told my friend that I, I'm not looking for the strategy that if I put more work into, then I'll get more out of. I'm looking for the strategy where I can do something easily and then I get unexpected and exponential returns from that strategy, right? Like, yeah, I didn't get into business to work hard, y'all. I didn't. I got into business to live my freedom filled life and however that looks for me at any given moment, right? And so I can work hard and I do work hard when I feel like it, and I don't when I don't. That's how I feel a life of freedom looks like for me. So, what does that look like for you? I'm curious. You can always um, find me on social medias, comment. I really do want to hear from you. So if you have any comments you want to send to me, any emails, or just send me a message, y'all. I'm available. I'm available. I don't answer right away, so there's that part, but I do answer. So whenever you are willing to connect with me, please do. I appreciate all of it, all the likes, all the comments, all the love. Um, it is it's it's the gems. It is the true gems. Your attention is a gem, and I appreciate you being here now. So here we go. The sound for the day is ma. Do you remember how I did it? Ah behind M. Mm, ma. Let it be a release of breath all the way out. Ah behind M. Ma. It brings us into greater vibration presence of our energy in our physical body. And it increases that exponentially. All right. All right. So let's do one more ma and then we'll move on to our movement. Okay. Mm, ah. So let it go wherever it wants. I like to say, wherever it lands is fine, high or low, weird or not, doesn't matter. Sound is sound, and any sound we make is going to feed back to the body and be part of what helps us to resonate and vibrate. Um, so all sounds are healing, and so we just get to keep doing more of them, and then we get to make more of what we want when we have a greater understanding of how our bodies are doing that movement. Okay. Yeah, if you want to know more about that and how I apply it to singing, I have free voice classes that I'm doing on YouTube. So you're welcome to join us there as well. Okay. So yay, the YouTube rocks. A lot of free good stuff I'm giving out there. All right. Our movement for the day is carry water. So I don't actually, I'm not a Tai Chi expert, but I know that I know the movement I want, which is basically we're going to take our hands, we're going to reach down towards our feet, and then we're going to bring our hands up and they're going to come together a bit like we're cupping water. And so we bring that up, right? And then back down. And for those of us who know the OMAS method, below the belly button, just go ahead and bring them back down below the belly button towards the pelvic area. And then you can do another one. So now that your hands are facing downward as we come back down toward the pelvic area, we're just going to keep going, breathing out and reaching down into the floor, bringing that energy up. Yeah, and then into the lower belly, and then out, back, reaching back to the earth, breathing out, right? And then one more breathing in, bringing that up, and then back into the belly, belly. Really, a lot of energy work and a lot of what we're doing right now is we're bringing more of our energy into our physical bodies, not just part of us. The whole of us includes our auric field, includes our spirit, and we're much bigger than our bodies. And so we're just bringing all that energy that we've been exerting over the decades of our lives and bringing it back to the body. Yeah, yummy, yummy, yummy. So that's visibility. A lot of people think that in order to be visible, we have to output, output, output. And that's what I see people over efforting output. Um, should be extreme extreme efficiency, extreme strength, really, even for inside the body, not out of the body, inside. When we bring that energy in, we amplify it within the body, then our visibility increases. And that is literal. So your light will increase and people's ability to see you will increase, and the magnetic pull to you that is meant for those connections that you're here to build in your lifetime will increase. Okay, so that's a little secret. I don't know if I've said it quite that way before in any of my teachings. So you're welcome, because it's true. It's true. So yeah, that's it. We're going to apply all of that yumminess into our lines from Gene Keys. So, what is your line in the brand sphere? Let me pull. All right. This is a little tricky, but it's true that our brand sphere is right here. It's a little hide. It's in a hiding. If you've done the coursework from Gene Keys, you know this is not hidden. It's right there. I tell you when you do the path. This is the pearl sequence in Gene Keys, and it's just a different name. The way these have two names. It's not just vocation. It's vocation and core wound, right? It's not just purpose. Well, it is just purpose, but it's purpose in two fashions. It's purpose from your activation, which is the green path, and then it's also purpose for your love sequence. So that's the Venus sequence that goes from here up. So it's purpose in both directions, but for different things, right? Our activation is our activation of our own energy, and then our purpose, the Venus sequence, is about our activation for others, right? For our connections to others. Okay. So yeah. So much to learn from the Gene Keys. If you ever want to study that with me, it'd be a great time to go ahead and book your one-on-one astrology session. We'll get you started with the purpose. If you're interested in the larger possibilities of building your business from something that feels natural and organic to you, or building your marketing from something that feels aligned and authentic, and something that you are committed to being more of in your life, which is hopefully yourself, being more yourself in your life, then we can do those as well. But what I think is probably something that it's going to take a really special person who understands the value of what all this being put together here, is to do all of it over the course of a year. Okay, so that would mean getting a yearly package from me that would have astrology as the focus. And then we would go through each one, we do voicing, we'd implement it into the ways that we are building support around us, and how we look how our homes even look, and then what we do with our homes, and even out into the output. What are we giving? What are our projects? What are we helping people through and do? And well, do with others, right? And so yeah, so that's the thing. It's the same one. It's in here. So what is so you can also look at your key, which is something we haven't talked a lot about. But for me, on both sides, right, my life's work is to understand my shadow of intellect, which opens the key to my ability to live in precision. Um, and so that is my brand. So my precision My precision is literally what I teach. But again, before I knew about Gene Keys, I called my business Impact Studio. And at the time, I was just teaching voice to sing, right? Interestingly enough, like again, the way I taught was differently than my teachers. It's where I developed my method from because I didn't see anything like that in the methods that I was taught across the myriad of techniques for voice. And I knew it was true because it was what allowed me to unfold in my truth, my ability to speak clearly, my ability to hear, have people hear what I mean for them to hear, whether I am actually speaking well or not. That's something that happens all the time now. But often I mix my words up. I don't know, what kind of neurodiversity that is, but I often am putting them in a different grammar association than most people. I think it's one of the things that makes it hard for me to learn other languages. I know a lot of words in other languages, but like, how does a sentence structure and syntax work? I know it intellectually, but when I'm trying to do it, it gets mixed up. A little, I feel like it's a little bit of dyslexia, a little bit of other things. So what I'm good at, why I am good at teaching people is because I know the combination of intuition, somatic understanding, awareness, and the ability to respond in real time that it takes, right, in order to be effectively doing something, speaking impactfully or creating with precision. So that is my talent, right? So and that's something, again, like I can't make this junk up. Like I couldn't have planned for that. You know what I'm saying? So this is one of those things where you get to see what you have already been in response to over your period of life. It's not just informed by those words. That can mean 1,000 things to 1,000 different people and does, right? And so, what does it mean to you is what we're finding out when we're doing this deep dive, and has come up for you and your self expression in your life and your life experiences and your relationships and what you get done in this lifetime. And that's the fun part to me. So, I would love to walk you through that if you are looking for um, that kind of self knowledge that really helps us to do all things more effectively. Okay. Whew, that was a lot. That was a preacher. That's a preacher moment. All right, we're gonna jump into the lines. We got line one. Remember that that line is behind the first number of two digits, or well, I guess it could be one if you want, but behind the dot is what I like to say. So it's always going to be a one-digit number, and it's going to be either one, two, three, four, five, or six, and it's behind the dot in that gene key sphere. Okay. So, line one in our brand visibility, in our self expression, and the full knowledge of the word, right? Line one is about cutting through the noise. So, brand, oh, I'm sorry, this is going to be a long one, folks. Let me explain this for you. All right. Why brand? Why did Richard Rudd call it brand? Number one, he was being funny by, not really funny, but he was applying the words that people were using in corporate wording to these spheres because it was kind of a representation of what has been, but also what could be in our possibilities of what we can think of sorry, how we think of corporate or life in general. And he reflects on the original usage of the word brand, which was to brandish. It was your sword. That was in reference to your sword. So brand became something that you can put on other people, but the sword was actually to cut through um, what I'm calling the noise. All right. But it's to cut through to the truth, to the heart of something. That's the initial meant version, I think, that Richard Rudd was pulling from here is that brand as the cut through to the truth of who you are, right? And what cuts through the noise of what isn't you. So that's beautiful, right? Because that helps us understand that, again, the more we bring more ourselves here, the more people will be able to be in connection and response and truth with us. That's how we create real love, real authentic connections, real sustainable things that we build, right? Projects, businesses, art, everything, everything, everything. Okay. Line one, cut through the noise when they have the courage to be bold and speak with authority on what they have well researched. So the line one's challenge is that they don't really deal with people. They deal with doing, right? They like to do things. They like to make things. They like to see things become. And they are always having their hand to things. They like to delve deeply. They like to know more about what they're truly interested in knowing. So they tend to do deep research. They can often be sidetracked when they aren't in resonance and don't quite understand where they line up in that. All right. So I had a little interruption, so I don't know what I said before. But essentially, it is something that they are, again, this is how we are expanding into our lives. These people would rather be doing what they do and creating more things than be talking to people, right? And which is what you have to do is you have to talk boldly and with authority, right? And so it is a challenge. What would make them want to do that? Being so passionate about what they do, wanting to help people feel secure and safe. And so that is also part of the brand is that you are here to help people feel more secure and more safe, right? So, what can you do? Um, this one actually, there's part of this that actually comes from the kind of the insurance philosophy of talking about what makes people not safe in order for you to help them. Because that is part of it. Is part of it just to help people get connected to their own personal courage, right? So that of the Line One brand, right? You only get to come out when you're helping others be and feel empowered, right? There's actually a couple. We're all here to help each other do more of what we're here to do, honestly. So that's really the function of all of these is, they are mobile, and you'll see that it may again behoove you to have a version of all six of these if you have a larger business, because there's all kinds of people that are going to need what you have. And so talking to them in the fashion that would be more connecting to them, having different versions of how you connect to people really can help bigger businesses, right? But if you're a solopreneur, focus, y'all, focus. Yeah, I mean, if you feel like you want to delve into one for fun, that's great. Just do first things first, right? Do the one that it feels more aligned, that's already part of what you've been doing, and then like just go deeper with that for a second, and then try and you can experiment with other things. But again, when we want to be effective, when we want to do the first things first, okay? What is a priority to you? What's highly resonant with you, and what you want to do and see more of, okay? So those are the things that we want to do more. Line two, cutting through the noise. So they cut the noise when they have the courage to be free and natural before others. Because the second line's out there dancing like nobody's danced before and like nobody's watching. And yet the line two gets to show off their style and their beauty so that they are living in the flow of the whatever they're into, what they're passionate about in the moment, and then people see them and they're like, wow, life can be beautiful, life can be easy, life, like I want to be free and stylish and beautiful and easy like this person. uh yeah, I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna preach a little bit on that style part. Like we all have our own individual style, it looks different for everybody, and we pull it off differently, right? So find having the version that suits you. is a thing. Um, but yeah, the hard part for line twos is they also like to do that in private. They like to be alone. So there's about that balance of how much are they alone and how much are they allowing others to see them and have that experience with them. And so that's pretty important because as your brand, you want to be visible, right? So while for me, it makes more sense to do and do things live, like live events, be on YouTube live. It makes sense because people want to see me and my experiences and how I allow things not to keep me from doing what I'm doing or to keep rolling with the punches or however people see it. But that is kind of what attracts them to me. They're like, oh wow, in real time she's having these statements that are meaningful to me, that feel connecting. And they're like, I wonder how I can tap into that. How can I be that easy with something that I have a hard time with, right? And that's true for me. I have a hard time with speaking. And I have done so much of this work that it doesn't always appear that way. And often I'm in an inspired moment and I'll say something that, yeah, that sounds inspiring. Not necessarily because I am that awesome, just because I allow myself to be in the flow of what I already know is possible, right? That is the line two. Is that being in the flow of what feels good to them and then allowing people to see it. So they may do it differently. They may be by themselves when they're doing it, and then they may record it and then send it out to the masses at a different time, right? So it may not look like exactly being live, or it could. Maybe their version is that they do something that is totally off the cuff, that they just got free spirit and easy about, and then people caught the moment when they were in that flow, and it is inspiring to them, and they feel that connection right away, right? So it can happen a couple different ways, but the line two, he wants to show an image or an idea to shake the world up. So this is different from being safe, right? Or feeling secure or the availability of security or the question of security, right? That's a completely different idea than showing an image to shake you up, let you feel a little unsettled. Be provocative, inspiring, and enlivening. So that provocation to live something new, to not be satisfied with this. Oh yeah, I've had this sweater for 1,000 years. I've done nothing new with my style in 1,000 years. Huh? I like it well enough. It's a good color. I like the color. And then somebody highly stylish walks by and it's totally original and it's like you could tell it's a new color because you haven't seen it in a while, right? Or whatever, and something's inspiring about it and you're like, hmm, maybe I should get a new outfit, right? So that is what the line two is out there doing. Okay. So now we're gonna move on to the line three. So line three cuts through the noise when they are willing to touch hearts through humor and warmth. They're pleasure givers to teach others to laugh at themselves. So that's something I don't even recognize. This is why it's kind of hard sometimes to do these things because you do them so naturally that you don't know how to do them on purpose, right? This can be true, especially if you were told not to lean in to that life's work of learning more about that. If we've been in evasion of that shadow, which is um, happens. A lot of us are like, how can I at least deal with my shadow? But life has a way of like facing us into, and especially right now, into our shadow. Um, but some of us still manage it. So in that case, it can be harder um, to think that these things are true for you. Like how much have we not leaned into what we're here to do can be a really tough because now we have to go into the shadow and say like, well, in what way or in what way has this been shadow? And what were the other possibilities? You have fewer examples essentially of how that shadow becomes the gift and the city. So, anyways, for me, this has been something that people have told me, and I just completely ignored it. And even now, up until now, I'm still having a hard time seeing it, honestly. But then I know I do this a lot, right? I know I laugh at myself all the time when I'm recording or teaching or whatever, because I think it's hilarious. Because me trying to be, somebody, I don't know. I just know that that I have to in order to do the work. It's kind of like, well, of course I'm going to laugh at myself. If I was perfect, I wouldn't be able to teach you anything, right? Like I think that that is constant hilarity to me. The juxtaposition, what do you call it? The paradox of that reality. It's like I've messed up so much, I can tell you how not to mess up. Like I was so bad at singing, I can tell you how to be a good singer. That's literally how my life works. And that's how most line threes what is that is what is true for most line threes. They've messed up so many things. They can tell you how not to do something. So they really are good at like sharing effective strategies to help you see yourself differently and help you understand yourself and to help you feel good about yourself if you feel like you haven't been feeling good about yourself. They can teach you, line threes can teach you how to feel good about yourself because most of them have felt the same way. They feel like they're line three can feel like they're constantly failing when the world's telling them that if it's not the meant result that you failed, that's not actually true. And a line three can help you realize that that's not the truth of why we're here. We're here to live different experiences. And sometimes those experiences look messy, painful, hurtful, and yet we can create great beauty out of them. So we're coming back to that beauty ideal, and you'll see again these energies building on top of each other. So yeah, they help other people laugh. They laugh about themselves and they are make fun of themselves and they will laugh with you about the things that you may need to just be like, oh, well, that is that happened. I did that, right? And doesn't make you less of a person, doesn't make you less valuable, doesn't make you less important. And that's what they're going to help you see, right? Line four, right? The line four cuts the noise when they are willing to share authentic feeling, how they really feel about something. They are here to put the feeling back in business, Richard Rudd says. And they create the authentic and memorable moment when they're sharing real human examples, what humans really are going through. My husband's a line four here, and it really is pretty amazing how he'll bring up the right story about the right athlete or even the guy next door when he grew up in Jersey or just the right story for the moment for us to see the potential for human emotion. And what helps is that often he also has a line six purpose. So that perspective can often feel alien, disconnected, especially in the shadow. And so it it can be the high statement where he'll make it like a blanket statement, but it comes from his ability to see the whole of humanity. And then people like it can put people off, especially in the shadow. But when he brings it back to that human example, right? Then we're like, oh, I see what you're saying, and I have had that experience. So I've seen somebody have that experience, and then it brings them back to the true like, yeah, we have these emotions, we feel these feelings, and this is what it means in the human experience. And it becomes this beautiful kind of round table, what do you call it, round table moment, I think is what it is. But yeah, so that's the beauty of a line four is that they're going to share their heart with you. They're going to share what they're passionate about, what they really think, and what's really possible. And then they're going to tell you why a human experience gets to benefit from those things, right? And it's beautiful. It's beautiful because that's what we're here to be is human with each other and feel with each other. It's fun. Line five. Line five cuts through the noise and they take time to listen. So line fives, starting line fives often just know what they want to do. They just want to make things happen. They just want results, results, results. They can, especially in the shadow, right? So especially in the shadow, it can be like, if there's no result, I don't care. But when it's building on top of these other lines, the truth of that is that they are listening to what people are really experiencing. They really understand, not just in the version of like how it actually gets done, but how it gets done with people intact, with people still honoring themselves and loving themselves, right? Um, and they share those solutions with that deep understanding. And so it effectively creates major change for the person. You can understand how, if you're not listening well, you can think you have the right solution, but you may have missed something that was crucial to have immediate or effective results. Uh, and People don't get the results because you never listened to what they really needed. So that is the challenge for the line five. But if you can remember the listening that made you choose the solution to begin with, if you can listen to a few more people and find out what else is coming up for them, so that you aren't just solving that one problem, but you're solving it with the whole human in mind, then massive, massive shift happens. So, what we want is for you to share those solutions with a deep understanding and a wisdom of people that makes you choose the solution that works for you. Okay. And again, not all solutions work for all people, but we can have more success essentially when we have somebody that's truly understanding and truly understands the person and truly understands the solution, right? It's a really good way to pick a really great teacher as well. You want somebody who understands the type of person you are and how to apply the solution. You need both, unless you have such a good understanding of yourself that you can apply the solution as it makes resonant sense with you. And that does take time, so I wouldn't jump right into that one. All right, line six, cut through the noise when they educate. So line six, like I was saying, they have this kind of whole world understanding. And in this evolution, this is like that, bringing the whole of those energies all back together. And they're in this holographic profile. So it's not just 3D, folks. It's actually out interdimensional. It's, a flat image. So you're seeing a two-dimensional thing that's representing interdimensionality. So not even just four dimensions, not just five dimensions, but interdimensionality of our beingness. And so this is like the culmination of the one, two, three, four, five, six, and it's the culmination of the whole of the profile. It's a culmination though, because we're going to do the pearl next, and that is less of a culmination. That's like that's an essence. That's the and I don't know. There's not a better word than essence. It's the essence of the thing. But this is a culmination of the energies. In that way, 6 9 is just he really is coming to the truth that everything is fine. We are exactly where we need to be. There's nothing to do beyond being more of who we're here to be. And it's all coming, working to the greater good. Alliance 6 really kind of knows that. So they're really here to just teach others that that is true. And they're here to teach others how things work. What does it mean to be human? and and able to choose solution for themselves. So a lot of one of the things that Richard Wright says about the 6 9 is that they will put themselves out of business. They teach you how to do it for yourself. They will teach you how to find the right answers for yourself. A great teacher. And that's actually something that I aim to do. I aim to teach somebody voice so well that they don't really need me. They can check in on a recording, they can check in on a few things, and they can find their own balance within themselves and do what I've taught them to be able to do. That's my ultimate goal. Is that a great teacher will turn them back to themselves, right? And so that's what Alliance 6 is doing. They're going to teach you so well that you're going to be able to find your own solution or do it for yourself. And so they put themselves out of business, but that's fun too, right? So as a brand, you get to share that um, the beyond, the whole vision, and then you get to say you can do it too. It's available. We are all All right, so those are our 6 lines for our visibility, for what it looks like to be out there, available for the prosperity that is available to us. Now, we're going to come back into a unity consciousness, into that prosperity is already here and available by doing our affirmation statement. Because, yes, we get to live in that aligned and resonant and impactful action. And also, my income increases every day, whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing. So if it's work for you to get visible, if it's work for you to do marketing, I want you to know that it's not just the action that's creating results, it's the ability to be in a resonating cycle with that action. So, in other words, if there's a time for action, there's a time for rest. Right? If there's a time for action, there's a time for flow. There's time for action. There's a time for reception, right? So my income increases every day, whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing. Again, one more time for those of us who know the OMAS method, breathing out, breathing into the belly. My income increases every day, whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing. Beautiful. I will see you on the final video.